Recently, I told you guys I bought one of my dream fish, the spotted Congo puffer. I've had them now for about half a year and they're thriving, but I can't say the same about their tank.
The tank is completely overgrown with Limnophilia sessiliflora. Parts of the background have fallen off and I actually think the tank looks too dark and no longer very attractive.
Now, I do have to be honest. The fact that the plants are thriving and exploding in the aquarium isn't necessarily a bad sign, but we as humans want to have something to look at, and the plants are now blocking each other's light, so it's time for action.
To start, we're going to trim the plants and distribute them between the buckets. The Limnophilia sessiliflora has clearly grown the most, but also the Cryptocorae neuri and Wentimioja oja have grown significant. After trimming the plants and distributing them into buckets, each bucket gets its own pufferfish. That way, I prevent them from potentially harming each other during the stressful period. I then cover each bucket with a mesh to prevent the puffers from jumping out.
Next, it's time to remove the stones, and because I really like this aquascape, I'm placing the stones on a separate towel in the direct order they were in the aquarium, so I don't mess up the scape. Next, I lower the water level so only a thin layer of water remains in the aquarium.
This makes it much easier to catch all the other fish. These go into their own bucket. The pufferfish tankmates are cardinal tetras, Cubotyras boras, red lizards and rainbow gobies. Most of these fish are leftovers from other scapes, but they coexist well in this tank without causing problems.
And now we're coming to the biggest change in the aquarium so far. We're gonna replace the sand. In one of my previous videos, you saw me change the sand already, and in today's scape, we're bringing this red sand from Dupla back into the scape.
Don't worry, I'm going to reuse this sand in another tank. I scooped the sand out of the tank and into its own bucket, trying to take as little water as possible because this bucket is already heavy enough.
And now it's time to look at the background of the aquarium. This aquarium has now been running for about 1.5 years, closer to 2 years, and some of the pieces on the background started to fall off.
Originally, we used sand to cover the expanding foam in the aquarium, but unfortunately, that sand has come loose in some places. Since I don't have time to let this tank dry for several days, I've decided to fill this gap with some plants. I stick some smaller plants in strategic spots to fill it up. A big advantage of this choice is that it makes the tank much more green and much more attractive than if I were to glue sand back onto the background. I've chosen the following plants for the background: Christmas moss, coral moss, Anubias bonsai, Anubias nana petite, Anubias nana, Java fern, and I also bought some dwarf baby tears, but I'll add those to the foreground. After adding the sand to the tank, it's time for a new pump for Groot. And of course, I place the stones back where they belong. And slowly, the tank comes together. I've been annoyed for a while by a part of the background where light shines through into the cave. So I quickly apply a bit of paint to the background to fix it. I've chosen to only replant a small portion of the plants, because they grow very quickly in this tank, and I have a new plan for the leftover plants, which you will see soon on the channel. I think it's important that this tank gains enough height and brings up various sidelines so the pufferfish can coexist. That's why I first placed the tall plants in the back row of the aquarium. Then come the crypts. And finally I place the foreground plants. I scatter a few small stones and the scape comes together beautifully.
I'm gonna be adding some fish. I will expand my group of Rasbora cubotai and cardinal tetras. This creates a nicely filled tank and creates also a nice contrast between the pufferfish and the other fish in the aquarium.
And then it's finally time to let the fish get acquainted with their new habitat.
And that's it for the rescape of the pufferfish tank. Let me know what you think about this rescape, and if you want to see me build some other tanks, I think this video might be something for you.